Hello, my name is Rick Simpson, and I'm making this video concerning the Diego Pelsier press conference that was just held and is available up on YouTube. For over a decade, I have been exposing the true healing power of the cannabis hemp plant to the public by showing them the amazing healing effects that oils produced from some varieties of hemp can have on practically all medical conditions. With what we know today about this subject, it can no longer be stated that even smoking cannabis does not have benefits for our health. In fact, as I understand it, those who smoke cannabis live 6 years longer on average than those who do not. With statistics like that to argue with, I cannot imagine how anyone could come up with a valid argument against even the smoking aspects of cannabis, let alone the medicinal use of essential oils which this plant can also provide. I make no bones about the fact that I smoke cannabis myself, but I still feel that smoking is the least medicinal way to use this plant. If you have a serious illness, smoking cannabis may provide some relief, but if you really want to treat your condition properly, the use of essential oils from this plant provides the only means to do so. Now that what I have been telling the public for the last 10 years about the healing power of these oils is becoming widely accepted as being true, we are still faced with governments that will not react to our needs, and this has prevented us from putting in place standards and quality control to protect the public. How are we to provide patients with the high-quality oils they require when governments continue to send in their goon squads like the DEA to disrupt our efforts? This situation is causing patients a great deal of grief, and it has opened the door for criminals to sell low-quality oils and other products at a very high price. Since I was the one who introduced the truth about these oils, often I am contacted by patients who have been scammed by these uncaring individuals, and in the future I intend to see that these criminals are dealt with in the proper way. With all this government corruption in our path that we must deal with first, it may take a little time, but in the end, all who have been committing these crimes and those who have stood in the way of this medicine's free use will be exposed for all to see. When Jack Herer passed away in 2010, the torch was then passed on to me to see that this plant is made completely legal once more for us all to grow and use in whatever way we see fit. After all, hemp is a God-given plant, and under God's law, which is supposed to reign supreme, no one ever had the right to prohibit its growing and use in the first place. Jack Herer was against any form of regulations or taxation that governments may wish to impose, and I too feel no differently. But many frauds who like to call themselves hemp activists to fulfill their own agendas seem more than willing to allow governments to do whatever they wish, and they would be more than happy to go along with regulations and taxation. As leader of the movement, it is my duty to inform these individuals that we, who are the real activists in this cause, see them all for what they really are, and we look at them as nothing more than being bought and paid for flunkies, whose aim it is to see that the mega rich and all the governments they have corrupted remain in control. A few weeks ago, I was contacted by a man named Jamin Shively, who stated that he was out to legalize the hemp plant and he was willing to put up whatever funding was required to achieve this goal. He asked if I would be willing to Skype into a conference he was planning to hold at UC Berkeley, and I was told that there would be many liberal-minded professionals in attendance. Right from the get-go, something did not smell right about all of this to me, but in the interest of finding out what these people were up to, I decided to attend Mr. Shively's conference over Skype. As I recall, there were 17 or 18 people involved in the conference, but in a short time it was clear to me that not all of them were there for the right reasons. The statements voiced by doctors, PhDs, and those who ran test facilities during the conference made it clear to me that they were little more than con artists who had attended this conference to push their own agendas. During the conference, I spoke out against many things that these individuals had stated, and right after the conference, I sent Jamin proof that these self-proclaimed experts did not know what they were talking about. I then waited to see what would happen, but I received no response from Jamin Shively. A week or two later, I received word that Jamin was about to hold another conference, but by this time, I felt that little or nothing Mr. Shively was trying to do was on the up and up, so I declined any further involvement. I can only surmise that Mr. Shively decided to contact me in the first place so he could gain some credibility with the public. But if he had expressed his true intentions when we came into contact in a more honest way, I would never have consented to play any role in what he was trying to do. Recently, I watched the Diego Pelsier press conference on YouTube that Jamin Shively and an investment group he is connected with staged in their bid to become a major player in the hemp industry that is soon to come. It appears that Mr. Shively has now teamed up with the ex-president of Mexico and some other individuals who are in favor of regulation and taxation to achieve his aims. The song they are singing in unison sounds to the uninformed as if they are really trying to do something good for this world. But all I see are a group of individuals who are willing to bend over backwards for governments so they can enrich themselves. Mr. Fox, Mexico's past president, states that 40 people are dying every day in his country due to illegal trafficking in cannabis. This is the excuse he is using as to why he has joined Jamin Shively and the investors group he is connected with, but I do not feel that Mr. Fox is being truthful. I found the agenda they were trying to push at the press conference to be completely ridiculous, and I think that only a fool would accept such nonsense. If they really wanted to put an end to violence in Mexico and see that patients have free access to the medication they require, all governments would have to do is legalize this plant once more for everyone to grow and use as they choose. By doing so, it would put an end to violence because there would no longer be any money to be made from cannabis, and patients in need would be able to purchase the plant material they need for practically nothing. But I do not expect that governments will willingly do such a thing unless they are left with no other options. So it would not surprise me in the least to find that our corrupted governments would be willing to go along with plans like Mr. Shively's, which would enable them to squeeze as much money as possible out of the public. The truth in what I'm stating is quite obvious to most, for any thinking person would realize that people like Obama can also read the handwriting on the wall, and they know that come hell or high water, this simple oil is going to revolutionize medicine. But still it seems that they are arrogant enough to believe that the public will meekly continue to go along with all their corruption, just as they have always done in the past. I hate to be the one to tell them this, but their reign of terror is over, and we will no longer be manipulated by their deceptions. To highlight the rank stupidity of those who are presently governing our existence, it appears they believe we will allow them to tax and regulate this plant without dispute. I, for one, cannot imagine that mankind would allow any of these criminally minded political parties to remain in office. After all, it was these same parties who put these absurd laws against this plant's use in place. Yet it seems they still have the nerve to think that they will just carry on with business as usual. The cannabis hemp plant and those who require its use cannot be expected to pay the bill for all that has been stolen from us in the past by all these criminals. The money and resources they have stolen are all there for the taking if we unite and bring these people to justice, and these resources could be used to build a better world for us all to inhabit. Taxing and controlling the hemp plant will not put mankind back on the right path, but putting our countries in the hands of honest people, along with eradicating corruption and bringing those who have done so much harm to justice, will. So I urge everyone to stand against the plans of people like Jamin Shively or anyone else who wishes to keep us all enslaved, and if we are willing to do so, Together we can build a better world, and finally we may be able to find the freedom we have all been seeking. Thank you very much.